Welcome back to the channel, guys. And it's your boy Anime King, and today we're going to be doing part 7 of What If Deku Was a Vampire. I'm going to be giving you part 7 because you guys destroyed the 80 light goal. So today light goal is going to be 90. Get this one over 90 to get part 8, guys. Yeah, we're going to be giving you part 7 today, guys. Like and subscribe. If you're a new subscriber, comment down below. Yeah, and if you're one of my usual subscriber, comment down below and tell me what you think of this episode, and tell me if you want me to change anything about it. I'm gonna make it really interesting for you guys. So share this video on all of your social media platform, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. Start the intro. So, Deku wanted to end it all. Yes, he was tired of this life and know that with him and Elizabeth in this world, the world would be pure chaos and everything. Because he just found out that he was the one who massacred the 25 people. So he went to the only person who he think will stop him. That's the boss man who hired scientists that turned Deku into this monster. But Deku was in the shock of his life. Did he really think that the boss man would just kill him and do not take the serum for himself? Because the boss man wanted to turn into a undead vampire like Deku. Because if he's dead, he cannot be killed because he has no weapon to kill Deku. But he told Deku that he has a weapon that can kill him, and Deku just said, give me 24 hours so I could get Elizabeth, and after that you can kill us and everything will go back to normal. Because Deku didn't want to hurt anyone anymore, and he knew that without him, Elizabeth would go on a rampage and follow that stupid girl named Toga. So, last time we left off, they went to the Deku and Uraraka. After Deku compelled everyone in the school, Deku wiped their charge clear. Yes, Deku wiped him and Elizabeth charged clear. So, there are no more Elizabeth and there are no more Midori at the school. And he ended up compelling everyone to forget about him after 24 hours. Because this is going to be the last day. He compelled everyone to forget about him and Elizabeth after 24 hours. So him and Uraraka were near together, and the warping villain ended up warping the two of them in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, the sea. Where they usually, where Deku landed in the normal anime where Frog Girl saved him. But this time she wasn't there. Deku landed in the ocean and he was sinking to the bottom, and he couldn't grasp his way to came out of the waters because the force was just pushing him down for some reason. So it wasn't a problem for him. He's immortal. He doesn't have to breathe. But Uraraka, she's out, and she really needs to get out of the water immediately. Deku grabs onto her and trying to swim up on the top. Realized that he's not going anywhere, so he decided to go with a genius plan. He just looked at Uraraka and said, hold on. He swam as fast as he can down. He went straight down to the bottom of the ocean, and then he prepared himself for a huge jump. Yes, he prepared himself for a huge jump. He put every last drop of energy and strength he has in his feet, because he can move around his strength, because his body is not like a normal human body. It's dead. He's a vampire. So he has the ability to focus his strength on a specific part of his body. So he put everything into his feet and then he pushed off, and that was enough to fly out of the water. And then Deku realized that he was in mid-air with Uraraka in his hands, and then he saw the boat. He ended up pushing himself in the air and he flied in the boat, and he hit the boat pretty hard, but he was holding on to Uraraka. She was in front of him, so she wouldn't get any damage. Deku just lied there for a second, and then He looks at Uraraka and she started to cough and he said, "Thank God." Deku looks at her and he said, "I'm gonna make them all pay," because now he's angry because she almost died. Switching back to Elizabeth, Elizabeth and Toga are in the city doing whatever they please because Elizabeth can compel anyone for money and anything, so she and Toga become friends pretty quickly. There, Elizabeth went into a store and compelled the shopkeeper for some nice t-shirt and everything. She came out and saw Toga's face. Toga seemed to be upset and she asked her what is wrong. And Toga said, "Can you turn me into like you?" And Elizabeth had a weird expression on her face like, what do you mean? She doesn't understand, Toga. Turn me into you. And then Toga said, "Yeah, you told me that you were a normal human before they experiment on you and you turn into this awesome vampire. So, can you turn me into a vampire?" And Elizabeth said, I don't know how to, and why would you want this? You know you have to drink blood every time." And Toga said, "You know my quirk is basically I drink blood to turn into other people. So it's not a pretty upgrade for me, but I would really like to turn like you, immortal, do anything I want." Elizabeth was hesitant on this first because she knew that Toga has a crazy psychotic side, and if she was a vampire, her emotion would be heightened, and then she would start ripping people to shreds. And then Toga looked at her and played a card and said, "I know you're not going to do it because, you know, that kid, he's pretty much a boss, and if he told you to don't do it, you cannot do it." She's playing on Elizabeth's emotion, and Elizabeth said, "What, Deku? No, I don't care what you think. I can do what I want. So, let's turn you into a vampire." And Toga smiled. So they headed off and they start walking on the road and the streets, and Toga asked her, "So basically, how are you going to do it?" And then Elizabeth put her hand on her head and said, "I don't really know. When we were in the lab, the man injected us with something and we kind of died and we awakened with lots of body bags and everything around us, and there were dead kids in there, so I do not know how to get you that serum." And Toga said, "Hey, it must be in your blood then. But if I just take your blood, I'm not gonna turn into it." "Oh, I know, I have to die." And Elizabeth said, "Are you crazy? You really gonna take the chance of dying and do not know if you're gonna come back?" And Toga said, "Your life is awesome. I want to be like you, so please do it." Elizabeth then, she was hesitant, but she said okay, and she bit her wrist, and Toga started to drink her blood. After a couple of seconds, Toga closed her eyes and said, "Go ahead." Elizabeth walked up to her, put her hands on her head, and just wring her neck. And Toga's body fell on the ground. Elizabeth was in pure worry and shock because she thought that she just killed her only friend that she had and she would have come back. So Elizabeth spent some time there, but skipping back to Deku. After Deku realized that he and Uraraka was the only one here, yeah, the both of them was the only one here, and she was coming to and she was getting consciousness, and Deku checked up on her. Deku ended up taking her in his arm like a bridal style, and Deku realized that the water is pretty deep right there, so he do not know how to get across so far. But then he realized up to the far surface the water is shallow, so you can pretty much walk in it. So he then tried the same thing again. On the boat, he was going to jump off, but then he heard something paddle in the water, and he looked around the boat and there were lots of villains surrounded him. Yeah, there was lots of villains surrounded him, and Uraraka was still weak, so she could like float them over them. So Deku didn't have much option right here. He could have just jumped in the water and taken care of them. But then he thought to himself, those villains, they are most likely mixed hybrid with fish and human, yes, because all of them, they are floating on the top of the water, and if he jumps into it, he's gonna sink to the bottom, and he doesn't know if he has that much force to put in his feet to like fly over everything. But he gonna have to try it again because he needs to get off this boat and go help the rest of the people in class and go take care of that villain who sent him there. So Deku made it swift. Deku moved so fast. Deku appeared right behind one of the villains in the water, and Deku grabbed him and Deku pulled him under, ripped out his heart, and all of the other villains saw the water turning totally red. They're going like panicking now. They're panicking and wondering what's going on because Deku is in an angry state. He's not like feeding on them, but he's angry. He's gonna kill all of them. So we put Uraraka inside the ship so she wouldn't see anything. She was lying down like inside. But she was conscious of everything, but she was still weak because all of the water that got into her system. But if she saw anything, Deku could just compel her. Deku ended up swifting and grabbing the next one and just tear open his throat. Deku rips all of them completely swift, and yeah, it was like quick for him because he was moving around. Then he decided to swim back to the boat. Yeah, he didn't sink down. He swam back to the boat because he didn't have to carry Uraraka out of the water. So it was just him alone. So he swam back to the boat and he got her. Then he ended up putting the force in his feet and he jumps off the boat. She awakened and opened her eyes to see her and Deku flying in the air. But he wasn't really flying because he just jumped so far. So Deku ended up landing in the water and he realized that he could walk on the surface. So he was holding Uraraka in his arms like bridal style and he was walking with her. Meanwhile, everything is going on. Uraraka is coming to and opening her eyes, and then she told Deku that she could stand and she started to walk in the water too. She asked Deku what happened. Deku explained everything to her, except for the point of him ripping out the villain's throat. He didn't tell her about the villains because he didn't want her to, the last memory of him, to seem like a monster, because after 24 hours she's gonna forget everything about him. So he want to live peace, and by the way, they're together in this one because he told her that he liked her on top of the rooftop and everything. You guys need to check out the other episode. So she thanked him for saving him and everything. She was so happy that if she was trapped anywhere, it was with him. She even know, remember, he compelled her to be calm about the fact that he's a vampire, but he do not want her to see that he's a ruthless beast. But yeah, so skipping back to Elizabeth, it's about a couple of minutes has been passed, and then Elizabeth saw Toga. Her neck started to just turn and form. Yes, the bone that she break in her Toga's neck, it started to form back, and her head began to straighten. And then Toga's eyes opened and she gasped, and Elizabeth said, "What? It really worked." Toga jumped up and said it really worked and gave Elizabeth a huge hug. And then she looks at Elizabeth and Elizabeth said, "What is wrong?" And Toga said, "I don't know, but I feel like I must serve you or something." And Elizabeth looked at her and said, "What do you mean?" And Toga said, "I don't know, but it's a feeling like you're the queen or something, but I don't really understand it." Because Toga is going to be sire to Elizabeth, because Elizabeth was the one who turned her, and Elizabeth was the first vampire, so it's going to be passed down, so Toga's going to be sire to Elizabeth. But yeah, this is a different sire bond, because two of them was friends, so Elizabeth is like, she's going to listen to anything she said. If Elizabeth turned another person, they won't be sire like do anything she said, but if Elizabeth die, they all will die. But because she and Toga had a good relationship, it just turned into a sire bond. So Elizabeth is like the commander and Toga listens to everything she said. So after getting lonely, like one of those humans in the bar that Toga started to call them humans because she thought that she was on the top of the food chain right now. She ended up feeding on someone and first tasting the blood. It was magnificent. And she fully transcended into a vampire. After Toga finished, Toga tried out her new skills, her compulsion, her strength, her speed. And then she asked Elizabeth, "What is a switch?" Elizabeth looked at her with a confused face. "What do you mean, what is a switch?" And Toga said, "Don't you feel like inside of you, There's a switch that I can shut off all of my emotions. And Elizabeth is saying, what? There's a switch where you can shut off all your emotions. What are you talking about? And Toga said, just feel it. And Elizabeth and Deku never really think about this, so they never really experienced this. It was a switch in their mind, like the humanity switch, so they could shut off every humanity and everything about them, so they would be like a humanity-less vampire, and they would be pretty dangerous. After Toga closed her eyes and she did it, she told Elizabeth that she felt wonderful. Elizabeth thought that this switch made them powerful or something, so she decided to do it too. After shutting off her switch, she never wanted to turn it on back again, and she realized that she doesn't care about Deku or anything, what he think of her or anything, but she still wanted him to be with her, so she know exactly what to do. Make Deku shut off his humanity switch too. But it's gonna be pretty hard, she's gonna have to trick him. Back to Deku. Deku and Uraraka has reached the surface. They has reached the surface where they saw Mr. Aizawa taking on every single villain. Uraraka is staring at Deku and said, what are we going to do? And Deku said, we gotta help him. And then Uraraka looked at him and said, I know you're a vampire now, but isn't those guys a bit too much? And Deku looks at her and said, don't worry, I cannot be killed. And she looked at him and said, oh. She was stunned to the point that he can't be killed. She knew about vampires in movie and everything, immortal, but to hear it from him, she knew it was true, so she just played along everything like everything was cool. Because Deku compelled her to be okay with all of the information that she's going to be getting. So after Togarashi, he ended up sawing Deku and Uraraka spying on them, and Mr. Aizawa taking on all the villains till he completely wiped them out. Until it was a Nomu left there, the Nomu ended up slamming his head down into the ground and holding his arms and twisting it. After Togarashi said he's gonna show him the pain. He's gonna show Mr. Aizawa the pain of losing a student. And by the way, All Might is not here. The reason why All Might is not here, because Deku and Uraraka were shipped to another place, so Ida was shipped to another place. He was shipped to like the snow place, so he won't be able to escape and go call All Might or anyone else. So none of the other students are fast enough with the engine booster in their feet to get through the doors quick enough. So Ida didn't go and contact All Might. So at this point, Togarashi ended up launching at Uraraka. He was moving at a top speed to went over and melt her face because he wanted Mr. Aizawa to suffer. After Nomu grabbed Aizawa's head and showing him what Togarashi was about to do. But before his hand could even reach her face, someone grabbed onto his wrist. It was Deku. Deku was fast enough to grab onto his wrist, and Deku was now squeezing it. He looks at Deku with pure shock in his eyes because he didn't think that this kid has that ability, that speed to grab him. So he decided to use his other hand to try and disintegrate Deku's face. Deku grabs it with his other hand. Deku grabs onto his wrist because Deku saw what he did to Mr. Aizawa. Deku now looks at him. Deku's eyes look completely blank, and Deku thought to himself, if I didn't stop you, you were just about to kill her, right? And he just said it out loud. And Deku said, answer me. If I didn't stop you, you were just about to kill her, right? And then Mr. Aizawa, the Nomu, and everyone in that place could sense something coming from afar. It was like something was coming in the atmosphere. It wasn't pleasant. It was like pure death. They could smell or feel death in the atmosphere. It was making it in their heart to breathe. It was like a cloud of poison rain or something. It wasn't really, just an expression, because it was like something fogging up the place, and Deku's whole body was letting off a weird aura, a reddish aura. His whole body, Deku's eyes became completely white, no pupils or nothing. Deku still holding on to Togarashi's wrist, and he couldn't do anything else because he was in a position where he couldn't use his feet or anything. Nomu was about to attack Deku, till Deku twists Toga's wrist and Deku breaks his wrist. He ended up jumping back, his two hands are at his side now and said, "This kid just break my wrist." The Nomu decide to fling Mr. Aizawa down into the ground. Deku stand up out of the water. Deku just walking up to Nomu. Nomu decided to charge right at him. But guys, I'm gonna end it right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you know what to do. You see the like button, get this one over to 90 like, guys. I'll be posting next part as soon as possible, guys. But for now, I'm out. Peace.